Welcome back to the ScreenCrush Break Room. I'm Ryan Airy, and this is all of the Easter eggs, references, and little things that you might have missed in What If, Episode 5.
Well, that was the best episode of What If so far. For the most part, I've liked every episode more than the last, and I can't wait to see where the series is headed. So, Marvel zombies aren't a new concept invented for this episode. It was first introduced to the comics multiverse in the Ultimate Fantastic Four comics, when a version of Reed Richards traveled to the zombie multiverse. But then the concept sort of blew up, the shirts were all over Hot Topic, and people who didn't even read comics were into the concept. Why?
Because they're awesome.
We even had a zombie Iron Man teased in Spider-Man Far From Home. And the voice cast here is bangin', returning everyone from the movies except for Tom Holland and Chris Evans. And it's always nice to see David Dastmalchian appearing in yet another comic book property.
I'm a superhero!
I even like that he's still wearing his ex-Con shirt from Ant-Man and the Wasp. So the episode begins with Banner being sent to Earth at the beginning of Infinity War, and the shots are reproduced exactly from that movie. But hold on a minute. Heimdall sent Banner to Earth to meet with Doctor Strange because Strange can help him out. And of course Heimdall knows about Strange because he sees everything, except in the script says he doesn't.
Never has an enemy slipped my watch until this day.
Anyways, if you're wondering why Heimdall sent Banner to a planet infested with zombies, then let's look at the timeline. The episode specifically says that Ant-Man and the Wasp happened 2 weeks before Infinity War, but maybe the dark magic Heimdall used to transport Banner wasn't instantaneous like the Bifrost. It actually took 2 weeks or longer to send Banner through trillions of miles of space, and in that time, the zombies took over the planet. After landing on Earth, Banner becomes the POV character for the episode, kind of like Rick waking up from a coma in The Walking Dead, or Cillian Murphy waking up from a coma in 28 Days Later, which was released a year before The Walking Dead's first issue, just saying. I thought it was funny that Banner was dressed in the wizard garb for the entire episode, with his sleeves exposed even after he watched the training video.
The zombie virus is passed through saliva, so the less skin you're showing, the less there is to bite.
Speaking of which, the site Inverse pointed out that this frame is very similar to Joss Whedon's production company Mutant Enemy, which produced Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When the Black Order arrive, Banner tries to get the Hulk to come out exactly like he did in Infinity War.
Come on! Come on! Come on! No! What do you mean, no?
In Infinity War, the Black Order arrived at this spot because it was close to the Time Stone, which, as we see here, is still the case. Dozen G on Twitter pointed out that Wong loses his head the same way he cut off Cole Obsidian's arm in Infinity War. The best thing about Marvel Zombies is that the heroes are aware of themselves enough to still use their powers, even learn skills like the sling ring. So when they first arrive, the Avengers theme briefly plays,
Tony?
before giving way to a spooky choir. And Banner's line here,
Oh boy, are you guys screwed!
is another repeat of Infinity War.
You guys are so screwed now!
One of the best parts of this episode is the way it successfully mixes and matches different characters and shows combining their powers in new ways. For instance, the army of ants that eat zombie flesh. And the team of survivors is composed of a ton of characters who've never had much screen time together in the MCU films. They revealed that the zombie virus was originally contracted by Jan in the Quantum Realm. So, okay, wait, just a minute. The Quantum Realm can be used to travel through time, and traveling through time creates multiple realities, branches in the multiverse. We even theorize that TVA is actually inside the Quantum Realm, making it a kind of nexus of all realities. Therefore, maybe this zombie virus isn't just a one-off. It could be a multiverse plague. And if that's the case, maybe it was used as a biological weapon in the multiversal wars that Miss Minutes explained. Therefore, maybe Kang will continue to use this virus as a weapon in Phase 4, and we'll get to see our new Avengers fight a zombie version of the old Avengers. Sound cool? Tell me in the comments. One thing I love about this show is that everyone can relate to the premise, what if? What if Spielberg would have directed Return of the Jedi? What if you would have checked yes on that "do you like me" note back in 5th grade? And unfortunately, one day we may all be asking, what if I had done more to help with climate change? After all, not every global threat is as easy to spot as a zombie apocalypse. Every day there's more bad news related to the effects of global warming, hurricanes, fires, floods, and we don't even have an Avengers team that'll save our planet. But that's where Ren comes in. They're the sponsor of this video. Ren is a site that helps you to calculate your own carbon footprint. So here's how it works. You take a short quiz about your lifestyle that estimates calculates your carbon footprint and offers advice on how to reduce it. Then, to offset that carbon footprint, you can make a donation to plant trees and save rainforests, which in turn reduces carbon dioxide, creates oxygen, and we can all breathe easy until this whole thing blows over. After you sign up for your contributions, you receive monthly updates from the tree planting, rainforest protection, and other projects that you support. You actually get to see the trees that you planted, so you know your money is well spent. So if you want to see how you can do your part to combat climate change, visit Ren.co. Ren will plant 10 extra trees for the first 100 people who sign up with our referral link in the description. Back to the Easter eggs. So when Scott Lang's body dies, I like that they included this little nod to Titanic. After all, both that Ship of Dreams and Zombie Earth are sinking ships. And now, just for fun, here's my all-time favorite deleted scene when the crew catches Rose throwing away the heart of the ocean.
That really sucks, lady!
The Watcher says that this reality sprang from love and hope, a not too subtle nod to Hope's name.
It's also your name, and that's gotta mean something.
And then we see Peter's tutorial, like the social video he was recording in Spider-Man Homecoming, but also like Columbus's instructional narration in Zombieland.
Rule number 3, beware of bathrooms.
In the video, Bucky is showering behind an American flag shower curtain, foreshadowing that later in the episode he'll finally take on using the shield and sort of become Captain America by default. And his text lists him as a heavy sleeper because Hydra put him out for years on end. Sharon's special skill is listed as eulogies because her eulogy for Aunt Peggy inspired Steve Rogers to throw away his life. And their hideout is in train cars suspended above Manhattan by Spider-Man's webs, maybe a nod to how Spider-Man stopped the trains in Spider-Man 2. So they're tracking a non-linear hex code, which, wait, hex code? Like hexagon? 6 sides, Mephisto confirmed?
Not the beast!
So I thought it was also interesting that Sharon is part of the gang. As we learned about in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, she ends up going to Madripoor, started dealing art, and either became the power broker or works for the power broker. But she says this is because the government turned its back on her.
I'm like you, I didn't have the Avengers to back me up, so...
But now we see that she wasn't radicalized because the government abandoned her. The snap must have sent her over the edge. Remember, she also says,
My own father doesn't know where I am.
Listen,
so maybe her dad snapped and she said screw it and became a crime lord. And then after he came back, she couldn't go back to him because she was in Madripoor doing crime.
Crime?
Crime.
Happy Hogan, voiced by a kindly rendered Jon Favreau, says,
Somehow, I'm still driving.
because he was Tony's chauffeur bodyguard for years, as we saw in Iron Man. And he's got a portion of Tony's armor that he wears on his hand, and this is the same piece that Tony used against Bucky in Civil War. Now, I like that to escape the city, they had to go to Grand Central because of its history in the MCU. But in this reality, I guess Grand Central is on the other side of Manhattan because they're going to Jersey, and in our reality, New Jersey Transit doesn't leave from Grand Central, it leaves from Penn Station. Notice that Hawkeye is not that good of a shot in zombie form, showing that they still have their abilities, but their skills are dulled. That's one of the reasons why they were able to kind of hold their own against Wanda later on. Okoye tries to comfort Bucky about Sam's death, and he doesn't really care, which is in character.
I should be sad, but I'm not.
Can you move your seat up? No.
Peter Spider-Sense,
Peter Tingle.
was honed in Far From Home, and here we see that it's still so underdeveloped that he doesn't sense the zombies till the last minute. The train is headed to Camp Lehigh, setting for Steve's training in First Avenger and the Zola reveal in The Winter Soldier. Now, yes, a missile did strike the base in that movie, but it was only one building. The rest of the camp is still there. This might also explain how the fences were destroyed, as we see later in the episode. And then Bucky meets Zombie Steve on a train, a reversal of when Steve thought that he lost Bucky in First Avenger. This was also the first time that Bucky ever used the shield. Also, there's a hidden backstory buried in here. See, Steve was on the run and he let his hair and beard grow. He still looked this way all through Infinity War and only shaved after the snap. But somewhere in this episode, off screen, after he's reunited with Tony, he shaves, takes on the uniform again, and gets his shield back from Tony. I guess their reconciliation happened after the zombie apocalypse struck. When Bucky kills Cap, he says,
Sorry, pal. Guess this is the end of the line.
a callback to Winter Soldier.
I'm with you to the end of the line, pal.
Because I'm with you to the end of the line.
And then there's the sad version of the first Avenger theme. After Hope expands, Okoye says,
The kid has hand sanitizer.
which could also be another callback to Zombieland.
You guys want some Purell? Yes. Yeah.
Hope's zombie bite is a horror trope, but also introduces a ticking clock into the episode. Peter, of course, knows all the rules of zombie movies because of his deep pop culture knowledge.
Hey guys, you ever see that really old movie? Empire Strikes Back? Did you ever see this really old movie, Aliens?
But he does also confirm how he saw these films.
How do you do it?
See all these movies? AV Club.
No.
Which is kind of a bummer, because there's a great fan theory that his Uncle Ben actually introduced him to the movies, which, holy hell, we get our first MCU mention of Uncle Ben.
Practice, I guess. My mom, Dad, Uncle Ben, Mr. Stark. Now happy. I've lost a lot.
This episode did such a great job of balancing humor, horror, with just moments of quiet beauty. Kurt is worried about the Baba Yaga, just like in Ant-Man and the Wasp.
The what?
Come at night, little children sleep at night.
But here's the thing, Baba Yaga is also the nickname of John Wick.
An associate of ours. We called him Baba Yaga.
Which makes me think that the assassin underworld likens John Wick to a scary old ghost woman. This episode actually pays tribute to old ghost lady with this zombie because she's your mom. So then they find the Vision, who is running another typical zombie horror scheme, the Cannibal Ranch. Except instead of feeding other humans, he's helping Wanda to stay alive. Rafael Ferrer on Twitter pointed out that T'Challa losing a leg also happens in the Marvel Zombies comic. Now this twist is so interesting because remember, Wanda also employed some pretty extreme methods to stay with the Vision, what with the capture and torture of an entire town. Headless Scott Lang was amazing though, but it was pretty hilarious when I thought that Marvel would pay Paul Rudd just to speak a couple of lines and die. When they escape, Kot says,
Oh, thanks. I feel like I'm back at prom.
Meaning that Scott wore a cape to his prom, and so did I. When they escape, he even says the levitation spell from Harry Potter.
Wingardium Leviosa!
Wingardium Leviosa.
When Okoye learns of the deception, she immediately points her spear at the Mind Stone. Now this is another little hidden story. This is before the Vision ever traveled to Wakanda. So how did they know about the Mind Stone weakness? So Okoye could have reasoned that the stone was the source of his power, or maybe the Wakandans keep a dossier on any enhanced individual just in case they ever need to... When Bucky took the shield and went off to protect everyone to sacrifice his own life, I felt like it was a moment where he told himself that he could be worthy of the name Captain America, or at least that he would die trying to prove that he was worthy of the name. And it's subtle, but when the zombies attack Bruce, his arm turns green, showing that the Hulk will still protect their shared body. This alludes to the deleted opening of the Incredible Hulk that Banner described in the Avengers.
I got low. I didn't see an end, so I put a bullet in my mouth and the other guy spit it out.
So when Vision rips out his stone, the release of energy is exactly like what we saw in Infinity War. And when Banner hands Peter the gem, it's like he's anointed Peter as a member of the team, like Tony did in Infinity War.
You're an Avenger now.
And Peter also reminds us that he actually initially turned down the offer to join the Avengers in Homecoming.
Last year, Mr. Stark asked me to join the Avengers. I turned him down, and now they're all gone.
Now, the jet has a hard time taking off.
Oh, yes! Oh, no.
And that sound is actually the same sound as when the Millennium Falcon failed to take off.
Touch it!
Which sound designer Ben Burt recorded from an old biplane. Okay, so when floating Headless Scott said,
We'll put another W on the board for the Avengers.
That's the hardest any moment in the MCU has made me laugh. I mean, for a franchise that gets criticized for being a cookie-cutter template factory, this was extremely silly and weird, and I loved it. If you're wondering how Banner was able to touch the Mind Stone, SnapZ Entertainment on Twitter pointed out that he's actually touching the vibranium casing around the stone. T'Challa tells him,
In my culture, death is not the end.
Referring to the plane where kings live after death, and the line that he spoke in Civil War.
In my culture, death is not the end. It's more of a stepping off point.
But then we see Wakanda and all these zombies behind hexagon shields. The beast!
Not the beast! Not the beast!
And we see frickin' zombie Thanos, one stone shy of an Infinity Gauntlet. I'm not sure how he got the Time Stone though. Did he go to New York and get it from Strange's corpse and then go to Wakanda where there were no stones? I don't know, it doesn't work, but it's still awesome. What do you think zombie Thanos would even do after he got the 6 stones? Snap and turn the universe into a sandwich? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments.
Well, that's all the Easter eggs that I found, but if you found any, let me know in the comments below or at me on Twitter. And if it's your first time here, please subscribe. For ScreenCrush, I'm Ryan Airy.